Ass ton is 1,000 units of ass.
Hold on. Yeah.
Ass weights varies from cheek to cheek, so a proper conversion similarly cannot be made.
This guy said that a metric ass ton is 10 shitloads, and each shitload is 10 buttloads. Uh, however, ass ton, a 10 metric ass tons is a metric fuck ton. This is the measurement system for basic ass fuckery. For comparison, a shitload is the precise amount of shit an average person excretes during its trip to the restroom. Like, your dog. I have a dog literally buried in a comforter right next to me. Um, and then Jamie brought me home
I've
dinner,
heard of pigs in a blanket, but
and so I'm gonna, in true chicken attack fashion, I'm gonna sit here and try to eat while we do this.
I mean, is it an episode of Chicken Attack if you're not eating?
That is true. I now it just needs to become a thing. Now I just need to eat during every episode.
Well, that's like what shoot, why am I drawing a blank now?
But yeah, we're all kinds of messed up. That's why talented over here sounds like he's in a quote unquote Walmart
Walmart
bathroom.
bathroom. Yep. Yep. Oh, dude, now I'm gonna be hung up on this because what movie is it? There's a movie. I think it's Brad Pitt in some movie where he's just adamant that his character's always eating, and just every scene he's got to be eating. So like something, whether they just incorporate like a bag of chips in the scene, or he's like eating a meal or something. But literally every scene in said movie, he's eating something. And that was his idea for the script. So I feel like that's now you with Chicken Attack. Like you just
I
always got to be eating.
I think that is I've heard that from Han in
Yes, Han
Tokyo Drift.
in was it Tokyo Drift or Fast Five
Pretty
when
much
he's
all of
always
them.
eating the chips? Yeah,
Yeah, his character always has to be eating,
yeah,
which is kind of
yep,
funny.
yeah.
But yeah,
Sorry, I'm if you see me looking over here throughout the night, I'm watching the World Series also. Houston and the Phillies are going at it right now, and it's Game 3. Series is tied 1-1, and Phillies are up 6-0 right now, which is awesome because that's who we want to win it.
the Browns won last night too, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They beat the shit out of who are they playing?
Cincinnati,
Yeah,
who was in the
Cincinnati.
Super Bowl last year, which
Yep.
we've had Cincinnati's number for a while. Um, Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl last year, but we beat Cincinnati both times we played them last year.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, Browns are overall records terrible, but we're 2-1 in our division right now.
I mean that's something to be said.
Yep, and the loss we have in our division was only by 3 points.
Hmm.
Um, with a aid of a non roughing the passer call on the last drive, but that's okay. Wow, Phillies just went yard again. 2 home runs in this inning. They're
Nice.
up 7-0 now. Anyway, yeah.
So, what
So,
have you been up to recently? I know you had COVID. The family had
yep,
COVID.
being sick, having urinary issues, going to weddings.
Just slip
I mean,
that one in there.
I probably got it from peeing in a Walmart bathroom too many times. Um, but no, other than that, yeah, just trying to get back healthy. Uh, all three of us got COVID in the house. Most likely from the wedding we attended in mid July or mid October. Jesus Christ, what month are we in? um, but yeah, during all that, just going with the flow, doing what we have to do, and getting through it. I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft Wrath Classic. That's been fun. Um, so yeah, that's been keeping me occupied. Lindsay's been doing her Animal Crossing, so we've been doing a lot of video game date nights where we both just post up and play our games and chill and chat while we're playing. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much been it. Just trying to stay healthy, and which yeah, we're all I tested negative last Thursday. Viv went back to daycare today, and Linz was back at work on Thursday. So yeah, we're all feeling back to normal finally.
That's good. That's good. Did have you before I forget, have you ever had hot and sour soup?
Sweet and sour or
No,
hot and sour?
hot and sour. Like the Chinese hot and sour. Usually has mushrooms and stuff in it. Nope.
No, I'm not a mushroom fan. I get that from mom.
Got it. Okay. So it's like an egg base, so it's like a little like gelatinous almost. It's a thicker soup. It's a hearty soup. But if it just got like lukewarm, so it became like the texture of like snot, and I do not recommend that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
No recommendation there. Yeah.
Uh, no, that does not sound good at all. When we were talking hot and sour soup, there, I just couldn't help but think of the episode of South Park with the mongrels and my sweet sour pork. You
You
got
damn
that
Mongolians, break down my sheet wall.
break down my shit wall. uh,
That's a classic episode.
yeah, it is.
It's so like
I feel like any episode of South Park's classic.
yeah. Um so let's see. I've been playing a metric ass ton of Call of Duty. Uh,
Metric ass ton.
yes. Yes. That is a actual measurement. Um but
Wait,
what?
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
I I I don't know. I'm I'm sure
I was gonna say,
someone
'cause
put a weight to it.
I know what a ton is, but what is it when you put the prefix ass on it? What
Metric
is
ass
the
ton.
weight of an ass ton?
A metric ass ton by Urban Dictionary is in excess, a large amount, generally more than what should be expected.
No, hold up. I found a Reddit thread for this.
Oh yeah, I just saw that too.
So, how much is a fuck ton, ass ton, shit ton, and
Oh
their metric
wait,
equivalents?
hold on.
Fuck ton is exactly 1,000 fucks given. The weight of a fuck, the weight of a fuck fluctuates between each person, and as such, there is no standard conversion to metrics. Question: how many fucks do you give? Answer: a fuck ton. Ass ton is 1,000 units of ass.
Hold on. Yeah,
Ass weights varies from cheek to cheek, so a proper conversion similarly cannot be made.
this guy said that a metric ass ton is 10 shitloads, and each shitload is 10 buttloads. Uh, however, a 10 metric ass tons is a metric fuck ton. This is the measurement system for basic ass fuckery. For comparison, a shitload is the precise amount of shit an average person excretes during its trip to the restroom. Like, so it all stems from a shitload. Like, oh god, the internet does not disappoint.
Nope, does not fail. Well, there we have it, folks. Uh, welcome to
Funny thing is, after doing the research, I still have no idea what a metric ass ton is.
you call that research?
I mean, we
Are you one of those people? I researched it, where you're
just reading headlines.
uh, well, your augmented generated news feed, or augmented algorithm generated news feed just plays off of all of your biases is what's feeding you your information, and you say I researched it.
Yep, yep, that is
Yep.
exactly it. You caught me.
That's the only down part of the internet is the internet. Like you could say that. Okay, I can't talk. Let me rewind for a second. The internet is set up in a way that you can never really find out who's right in an argument because you can always find something to support either side.
Yeah,
Like
that is
seriously, go Google, does coffee cause blindness? And like it'll come
yes.
up with all sorts of things that it says it does. And then also go Google, does coffee improve eyesight? And I'll just give all these things that say like, yeah, this study proved this study proved this, da da da
Yeah,
da. So it's like, what's my right answer now? You
yeah.
can always find something to support your argument.
It's called confirmation bias,
Yep.
and yeah, it's a big thing to where like that when people say that uh when people say that the like oh shit, say
Is
something.
it your turn to not talk? Is it your turn
No.
to figure out how to talk?
When I'm trying to fix this goddamn echo.
Hum 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 hum.
um
I'm just gonna talk like this
when
the whole night.
God damn it. When people say that like Facebook and like Twitter and stuff is a like echo chamber, it's because it legitimately is. What's happening is the algorithm is just feeding you shit that it knows that you like and that like other people are following. So it literally it's just it's legitimately an echo chamber to where you say one thing and you try to look something up and then 2 seconds later it's popping up whatever it is that you're looking up is popping up on your like Google
which
ads and everything.
which unfortunately nowadays traditional news outlets are kind of the same way though. Like, CNN is very liberal, you know, um, Fox might be deemed more conservative, I guess. But like, so is there anywhere where you can get unbiased? Like, what's the best way to get unbiased information? Just go out and experience the world for yourself and try to view it through an unbiased lens, or is there any way to get unbiased news anymore now?
I would say like
Or
you
do you just have to consciously on your own go and attempt to explore the other side?
you have to consciously go around and go read between the lines and everything like that um around the area and just I like to get my news from
We have to think outside the bun.
yeah yeah, like I like to get my news from international outlets and like just around the world in general. And then you read through like each one of those and make your own opinion pretty much. Um so say something real quick. Nope, that completely broke it. You're you're not talking at all. So let's uncheck that I just said and hit that button. All right, now say something. Let's see if you're back. Nope, not back. This is great. I broke it. I broke it. Output is going to pro chat. Oh, wait, say something. Oh, I can hear you now. Um, we have less of an echo. There yeah, I would say something with a little bit more sound dampening. Uh, say something. Fuck, I broke it again. Oh, we're just okay. Do I have you back? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna do exactly what I just did, and this time we're gonna have no echo.
I mean, I never left.
Nope, more bigger echo. Say something now. That's a less echo, so we're gonna roll with the lesser of the echoes. Um, okay,
Sounds like an item looted in World of Warcraft.
there we the
You
lesser
you
echo.
looted a lesser echo. Combine 10 to make a major echo.
And then you combine 10 of those into a primal echo.
Primal echo.
That has a on use effect to reverse time by 10 seconds or something. I don't know. Yeah.
uh,
Okay. So yeah, you have a lesser echo now, so that's good.
lesser echo. Cool.
Yep.
Uh, anyway. um, back to what we were saying with like news and where we get it from and how we try to approach it. For me, I try to approach with the cliche of there's three sides to every story, you know? So you hear something, and I'm always the one to try to empathize and understand the other side of thought. At least be able to say that I can understand it. And I think part of the one of the biggest things nowadays though is people think that in admitting they understand something that means they have to agree with it, and that's not true. It's I'm able to say, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I can see and I respect your viewpoint, but that doesn't mean I have to agree with it. But that's just how I like to try to take in my news, I guess, is anything I hear, I always try to find and try to at least understand all three sides of the story. But yeah, anyway.
I mean, it also, yeah, you're taking your side, their side, and then you're taking two sides of the story, and then you're making your opinion, which is the third side. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But yeah,
yeah, it's been fun.
tell me, yeah, tell me about how Call of Duty's been. This is Modern Warfare 2, right?
Yes, the 2022 Modern Warfare 2, not the
I was gonna say because wasn't
2012
there?
Modern Warfare
Yeah, I was
2.
gonna say there's already been a Modern Warfare 2.
Or
So what is this?
2009 Modern Warfare 2? Yeah, 2009 Modern Warfare 2.
Is this a remastered
Nope.
Modern Warfare 2, or is this another part of the
No,
story?
they just
Or
rebooted the franchise pretty much. Well, they didn't really reboot the franchise. They just started the franchise over with the same name. It's weird. I'm not
yeah,
exactly sure what it is, but it's there. And so it they brain fart
I feel like
turned
Call
off.
of Duty is going for like an X-Men timeline.
Yeah, yeah. No, the so you always used to be able to do like weapon modifications and everything, and customize your gun attachments, everything like that. But they took it like a step farther this time, um, to where like the past couple, let's say you're using the AK, right? And you go and you level up the AK, you unlock different attachments for the AK, and you unlock like the camos for the AK and stuff like that. And they have it now to where you have camos in general that you can unlock, and then they have four or something that are specific to a gun. So if you use a gun and unlock the camo, you get it to be able to use for like anything. And then the attachments, you don't you may be able to use like there's like 30 different reflex sights in the game. You could use those reflex sights for any gun. It's not specific to one gun anymore. So I was using the M4 for a little bit, and then I saw some people were using the P90 and like just destroying people with it. So I started using the P90, and at level 12 of the P90, you unlock a thermal reflex sight. It's like an orange, like little, it's like hunting glasses, like the orange hunting glasses. But when you look at an enemy, it outlines them a little bit. So you can like see very clearly where people are. It's so good, but you can use it on all kinds of different guns and stuff. And people were watching me play. They're like, "Yo, where'd you get that?" And I'm like, "Oh, you got to go use the P90 and get it to level 12 so you can unlock this attachment." And then you can swap around like the lower receiver of the rifles too. So the M4, you start with the M4, but there's four or five other guns off that M4 platform that you can max out. So once you get to like level 16 on the M4, you unlock the lower for like it's it's actually like level, I forget what it is, but you unlock the lower for the Lockman lower 5.56 or whatever, and then you can keep going and unlock a different lower to make it like a submachine gun, and or you can go like the M16 route and turn it into an M16. But it's so in depth, and then once you max out the guns, you can do what they call attachment tuning. So each attachment, so like your foregrip, your pistol grip, your suppressor or whatever, you has a slider to modify for like recoil compensation or like accuracy or like damage and stuff like that. So you can actually like completely tweak out every portion of the gun that you want to tailor to your style of gameplay. And because there's so much modification, there's really no like meta gun. Like there's nothing that's like
Yeah,
this is the best gun because something that you perform the best with, someone
could be.
else could be total garbage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've been
That sounds
seeing
really interesting.
yeah, it's really cool. I've been seeing a bunch of like big streamers, people that have like really good like flicking like snap aim. Like
Oh, okay. When you're saying flicking, I'm thinking
no.
something
So
sexual.
they no, just very good snap aiming. They have a completely modded out marksman rifle with like just iron sights on it. So it's made for like straight recoil control and damage, and they're just like one tapping people like crazy.
You
And
think that would be something that a patch comes out for to kind of nerf a bit?
I don't know.
Because we've seen that. Shoot, did Counter Strike used to do that, like with the Scout or something like
Well,
that,
the
or with the Op? With
yeah,
the Op, they nerfed the heck out of the Op for like limb damage and stuff like that. Like if you hit someone in the limbs, I remember that it did only like 70% damage because like the
yeah.
Op used to like one shot regardless of where it hit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think so. I mean it feels really good. Because they got to hit that first shot. If they miss it, then
Yeah,
they're dead.
I
But
feel like that's a little Widow-esque from Overwatch.
yeah,
If you didn't hit that first shot with Widow, you were kind of SOL.
there's they added a new grenade type called the what is it? The drill charge?
Holy hand grenade?
No.
Oh,
No, it's the drill charge. So it's used for, like, anti-camping, right? So if someone's in a room and they're camping a corner or whatever, you can throw this mine at the wall, and it drills through the wall and then just, like, poops out a grenade into the other side of the wall. So it's hilarious. You because there's some like if you're playing domination or whatever, there's some areas in the middle of the map that's like a box with the flag in it, right? So there's like four people in there. You're like, that's just gonna be death. So you run to the outside and you just throw the mine on the wall and watch people like run out like rats, and you shoot them as they're running out the door.
scatter the
Like,
roaches.
yeah, because if they sit in there, they're gonna die. But so you just wait for them to run out. It's such a cool like tool to help frustrating like engagements like that.
What is that? Isn't that a line from Avatar? Where they go to Home Tree and they start launching in the gas canisters. They're like, it's time to scatter the roaches.
Something like that.
I don't know. That sounds kind of dumb to me though. Like, aren't the Call of Duty games supposed to be like semi-realistic?
I mean, it is realistic. Like
Don't
that.
tell me there's something that exists like that in real
Well,
life.
not that works. Like you're not gonna like chuck it at a wall and it's gonna like glue to it. No, but I mean, you could probably walk up to a wall and put a drill charge against a wall. Like it takes some time to plant, but it's hilarious. Like a grenade. Like you just have like a grenade or Semtex and you toss it and it like goes like 20 feet and you're like, okay, cool. But for some reason, the drill charge, it's like it looks like a torch, like an unlit torch. Like it's got a rod on the bottom and then like these like spikes that like stick to the wall and then it like drills through. Like it makes sense the way it looks. But when your operator pulls it out, he holds it by the bottom and he like chucks it like a baton or whatever. And this thing fucking flies. Like it's like 60 yards. Like you're like fucking like Brett Favre over there chucking grenades across the map. And the first the first time I threw it, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it just like takes off, and it doesn't like arc like the other grenades either. Like there's many times to where I go to try to arc it, and it like sticks to like ceilings and shit, and I'm like, "No, I don't want it there." Like this thing just like it's like throwing one of those Nerf footballs. Like you just chuck it and it just goes. And it's
Yep.
like, holy crap. So I think they might nerf that because like you just like point it and it'll hit someone like 50 yards away, like
You
square in
got
the
it. Like,
face.
oh, did people do that in Counter Strike, or was that in Halo? Halo. Remember in right at the start of Halo, if you were playing online or
Hmm.
something, as soon as the game started, people would just launch sticky grenades,
Yep.
and it would stick somebody. Like, is anyone doing that in this
I
with that?
I did that the other day. I was
As soon as
streaming.
the game starts, just chuck
Yeah,
it.
I was streaming for like 14 hours and I started to get really comfortable with one of the maps. I forget what the actual name of the map is, but it takes place at a US Mexican border crossing. So like it's in between two customs depots and in the middle is just like gridlock. So it's got a whole bunch of cars and the cars will explode. Like so you could shoot them a bunch and they explode. So I was like right off the rip I chucked one of the drill charges and it just flew across the map, blew up a couple cars and killed like 3 people. And I'm like that's hilarious.
That was
But
always the worst feeling in playing Halo, though. Like, as soon as the game starts, like 5 seconds into the game, you got a blue fucking pulsing thing on your
one of
on your
one of my
visor.
friends did that. Like I remember the original Modern Warfare 2. Um, you remember the tomahawk that you could get?
Oh my god, yeah.
So he would like line it up and just off the rip he would just chuck the tomahawk across the map and he got like headshot kills by hitting people with a tomahawk right off the beginning of the
And see,
match.
that's something you can really anticipate, I feel like, in those, because you know generally like what direction people are attempting to
Yep,
run from the start. So
yep.
you can really get good at that.
Oh yeah, it was funny.
But
And then he was also really good at the game. You could be like, "Yo, get a nuke," and he's like, "Okay," and he'd go like 25 and like 0, or he'd get like one kill. He'd get like one death, and I'd be like, "Get a nuke," so he'd go like 25 and 1. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And
I
then
was I
yeah,
so really, really, really weird side note on this, how you're talking about that going on your kill streaks. Don't know why, but I had a dream the other night that I was playing Call of Duty Ghost, and I got my Juggernaut for some reason, and I was like super stoked that I got the Juggernaut, like a 15 kill streak or whatever. And like I don't know, just super random, but yeah, I remember trying to get those kill streaks because like I don't know, I feel like whatever kill streaks I selected, I only got like one or two. I very rarely got the third kill streak, but like in my dream, I was super stoked because I got the Juggernaut. But
they
super
brought the
random.
Juggernaut back. Like it's
I'm
a
the Juggernaut, bitch.
it's a kill streak in this one. I haven't used it yet, but they got let's see what's the good ones. They got the VTOL, the chopper
My
gunner. They got
my my favorite was Black Ops 2, the Hunter Killer drone, 5 kill streak.
yeah, I
And
forget
you
what
just
that one was.
oh, it was a drone that you literally just threw in the air,
Oh,
and
oh, yeah,
it would
yeah, yeah. Okay.
home in on a random person and almost always get you a guaranteed
Yeah,
kill.
yeah,
And we dubbed it the paper airplane.
yep. No, there's you got the Predator missile. You got like a couple different versions of airstrikes, mortar strikes, the VTOL chopper gunner. Um, you got the Wheelson, the Wally.
The Wilson
Wait, you
is that a play on words for um, Castaway?
I probably. I mean, wait, you
Wilson.
you don't know you don't know what the Wheelson is?
No.
So okay, so the Wheelson it's a remote control. It's a it's like a bomb defusal robot, but with a mounted machine gun on it. So like you just drive this thing around and just mow people down. Like it's hysterical. and my Jamie will just be like, "Wally, Wally," and we're
Yeah,
like, "Oh shit!" We're like, "Turn around, run!" Like,
yeah, it's like Wally cleaned up the earth by being uh environmentally friendly and picking up trash. This one cleans up the earth by ruling with an iron fist. The old wrath of God type stuff.
cleans up the scum of the earth.
Old Testament style.
Fire and brimstone, motherfucker, right here.
uh, we actually, speaking of Wally, we went trick or treating over at the in-laws' new place. Um, Dude, they trick or treat right over there. Like the houses, there's not as many as a normal development. They're more spaced out. It's a little more rural. Um, but it is. I
So,
guess
so,
you would say it is a development.
so
I
you get
guess you
your
would.
steps in while you're eating your
Yeah,
candy.
you do. But dude, the people over there, all the houses and stuff. Literally, the one was handing out handles of vodka,
Huh?
750 milliliter bottle. He's just like, here, you want some
Wait,
vodka?
seven. No, the handle is the 1.4, 1.5 liter.
I was reading the thing. It's 750 milliliter, whatever. But either way, he's handing out
It's
the
a
vodka.
small
Right?
one then. Okay.
No, it's
Well, it's the
tall,
small handle. It's the
small
tiny
handle.
handle.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. To me, that's a normal size.
You,
But anyway,
you non-drinking folk.
we stopped there. So yeah, they got candy for the kids and stuff like that. But then yeah, they had pudding shots lined up. They had shots of Fireball, and then they had the vodka. And we're asked about the vodka. We're like he's like, wait, we'd like do a shot of it. He's like, no, take the bottle. We're like, huh? Like you like want? And he's like, no, my brother owns the distillery, and we do this every year. It was like, oh, okay.
I'm coming
Go to
back
an
here.
right. Go to an yeah. I'm gonna go change costumes and come back.
Just go put on a mask. Like,
Um, but no, go to one of the other houses later on. They're handing out wine, like bottles of wine. It was like what? And like I was like, okay, like being a parent now, it's like okay, I get it because like I could see that like when you got a bunch of kids that you're taking around trick or treating, I could see other parents be like, ah, you're on trick or treat duty here, just have a beer, have some get this will help you through the night. But I don't ever remember that being a thing growing up. Like, and I was talking to Dad about it last night. He's like, well, yeah, we never went with you guys, so I don't know what actually went on in our neighborhood. He's like, but I don't know. Maybe I could see parents doing that, like helping out other parents. But all
that
that
sounds
aside,
like
though,
such a
Viv had a
Bob's
great time.
Burger thing to do.
Bob's Burger. Yep, for sure.
Hmm.
It baffles me, dude, that he's also the voice of Archer and he's the Arby's commercial guy.
Really? Have you
Yeah.
have you started watching Bob's Burgers? I know that you said that you couldn't get
Lin,
over
Linz,
that.
Linz and I watched a couple episodes the one time. Um, I was surprised that she actually enjoyed it because usually she's not one, which Bob's Burger doesn't really have that crude of humor. Um,
It's
but yeah,
so good.
she's usually not one to like cartoons, like crude cartoons. Like she won't do South Park, she won't do Family Guy and stuff like that. She's like cartoons to her are supposed to be like innocent kids things. She's like, so if she sees a cartoon figure like swearing and stuff like that, that's a turn off to her.
Don't show her like any sort of weird anime.
I've rewatched Yu-Gi-Oh a couple times. I don't know if you would really consider that a full-on anime. I don't know. It's an
Hmm.
Americanized. Well, the U.S. version's Americanized. Like if
Well,
I watch like the actual Japanese version, which I actually do have.
it's the same one. It's just dubbed.
I do have a manga, the original Japanese manga for Yu-Gi-Oh. That was pretty dark.
Hmm.
But yeah. Um. But anyway. Uh. Yeah. So Modern Warfare 2 sounds kind of fun. Maybe I'll get it on BattleNet play. But no, I'm actually stoked for Sonic Frontiers next week. Definitely,
Is that
definitely gonna be
coming out next week already?
November 8th, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's voting day. I'll
That's
go cast my vote and then stop at Walmart.
that's yeah, it looks good. Um I'm
Yep,
I'm
initial
interested to
release
see
date November 8th.
I'm interested to see like all the stuff that you can do once it comes out.
Yeah. I'm excited for it though. Definitely been looking forward to a Sonic game. Still just can't wait for, I might buy two games at once next week. I might buy that and I might buy Dread, Metroid Prime Dread. I played the demo. The demo was a blast actually. Um, so yeah, might pick up both and then play the Switch for a bit too. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Wrath Classic. Lot of memories coming back from playing that. I started a whole new character on a new server that
Hmm.
so um that way I was still at kind of the same starting place as everybody. Um, but yeah, I'm level 71 as of this morning, so getting there.
Wow.
Um, yeah. Yeah, that was my thing was to see if I could hit. I wanted to see if I could hit 60 faster than I hit 60 in when Vanilla Classic came out. And on both my characters, it was like 8 days and change to hit 60 in
Yeah.
Classic. Um, I hit 60 in just under 6 days playtime uh, with Wrath. I hit 70 at, um, hang on, did I say that right? It doesn't matter. I'm definitely going to be hitting 80 in less than 8 days, though. So I'm going to level cap in less than the time it took me to hit 60 in uh, Vanilla Classic. Long story
That's
short.
not bad at all.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of stuff that a lot of memories stuff. But this does feel different than when Vanilla Classic came out.
Yeah.
Because when Vanilla Classic came out, everyone was re-experiencing it again for the first time. It was more like the first time than this is because yes, we were playing Vanilla Classic with all the knowledge we have now, but we hadn't had a chance to apply that knowledge yet.
Yep.
We're applying it in real time. Wrath or that Burning Crusade Classic came out and now Wrath Classic. We now know everything that we're able to do from the other classic versions,
Yep.
so it does seem much faster. Um, but again, I'm not playing so much for the group setting. I'm just playing to just reminisce and stuff. So I
Yeah.
just signed in right now. My play time right now, I'm 71 with 5 days, 13 hours playtime. So um, there's it'll probably take me like 6.5 days.
Yeah.
I bet I'll hit 80 in under 7 days. I think. Um,
That's pretty quick.
yeah,
Like,
having fun with it. Definitely got me as I'm playing through these things. Like made me think of like what are some of the most like iconic leveling dungeons, like what are dungeons you don't want to skip while you're leveling.
mhm.
And I went Alliance, so of course that's Dead Mines and Stockades are the first two, and then despite being so far out of the way for Alliance, you got to get in Scarlet Monastery and Zul'Farrak. Um, I actually, for the first time ever, I shit you not, ran Black Fathom Depths. I've never, ever, ever, ever ran that dungeon. The only reason I ran it is because there's a paladin weapon that you can get that requires you to run that dungeon.
Well,
So I was like, F it, I'm running it.
let's do something that we haven't done before because I got a dog that's begging me to go pee. So let's take a break real quick.
Okay.
Keep that thought handy, and we'll talk about why you've never ran that when we get back.
Because I always played Horde before.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna go take the dog out, and then we'll get right back into it.
Sounds good.
Let me where is? There we go. All right, that's what I'm trying to do.
We'll be right back after this commercial.
Yep. Let's put on some music,
Some elevator music,
some hold music.
smooth jazz.
107.3 The Wave. All right, be right back. And I'm back.
Welcome back.
That fucking echo.
Is it still bad, or
Uh,
is it a major echo now? Have we collected 10?
no, I mean, uh, if the first echo was a 10, this echo is probably about a 6.
Okay.
So
What's the drop rate?
I don't know,
Is it like looking for
like a
zebra heads or
40.
raptor
Nah,
heads
it's
in the?
it's like a 40%.
Is it like looking for raptor heads in the Barrens? None of those raptors had
Those
heads.
those fucking raptors were headless. I swear.
You've heard of headless huntsmen? We got headless raptors.
Yep.
Uh,
So why did you never
yeah.
run BFD?
Well, I was really pondering that actually while I was watching the World Series while you were gone. And two reasons. First time I ever played through the game, I was Horde. And Dark Shore is Alliance territory, and that's where the dungeon is, and that's super far out of the way. Because I know that's really not the biggest excuse. I know a lot of Horde people ran dead mines and stuff like that, and Westfall is Alliance territory. Um, I mean, technically it's neutral territory, but um, there's very few. There's like no Horde
Westfall's
quest hubs.
Alliance. That's
There's
Alliance
no,
territory.
yeah, there's no Horde quest hubs there, and likewise, Dark Shore has no um, Horde quest hubs
Yeah.
either. Um, but yeah, so first time through the game, I was Horde. Never went to Dark Shore. Never played it then. Um, when I did play Alliance, I've always played Human. I did play Draenei at one point, but being Draenei, you can quest to level 20 just in Blood Mist and Azure Mist Isles, and then once you hit level 20, like I then uh thinking of the Alliance questing would go to like Duskwood or Lakeshire and stuff like that, instead of just coming from the Blood Mist and Azure Mist Isles down to Northern Kalimdor and going to Darkshore.
Yeah.
Aside from Drain, I always played human, and yeah, the normal human linear questing is Elwyn Forest, over to Westfall, over to Lakeshire, up into maybe even Loch Modan at some point. If you went to Ironforge and ran that way, but then you would get like wetlands, Duskwood, stuff like that. So, like, you don't like playing through it again in red classes. I realized how long it took me to go to Kalimdor. It wasn't until I was ready to quest in
Oh God.
Tenaris.
Oh. Ow. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
Spicy mustard. I just breathed out through my nose. Holy shit. My eyes are watering. Ugh.
Huh.
Ow.
I wonder if that would have been like good COVID medication though.
Oh, that hurt.
Like, are your sinuses clear?
Nope.
I mean, that may have been good while somebody has COVID, because if you can't taste or anything like that, maybe it wouldn't have bothered you as much. That was something that Linz was real bummed out about because it really did mess with Linz's taste.
That
I have a
sucks.
feeling I have a feeling it did Vivian's too, because like for a while there she wasn't eating her like if we ever do breakfast if like daycare days, she does breakfast at daycare, so we don't do breakfast before she leaves. But days where she's like at home for the day, like on the weekends, or when my mother-in-law comes and watches her, um, we give her an egg in the morning, scrambled eggs, and she loves those. She was really picky with them while she was sick, and I'm wondering if it would like mess with her taste because Lindsay said scrambled eggs were weird to her while she was sick. I wonder if it was messing with Viv too.
Yeah,
But
that's weird.
anyway, yeah.
I would have never thought that that would be something that would be weird.
Yeah, yeah. Lynn said it was like felt just the texture, and she said she may have over seasoned them when she did it because we always put like garlic and paprika in our scrambled eggs,
Yeah.
and she said that's like all she could taste, and the texture was just like really weird to her for some reason this time around. So, but
Really?
but yeah, that's what coming back to WoW. That's why I think I've never done Black Fathom Depths before. Is just every race I've chose to play didn't really go to Duskwood at all. Oh, Kate Upton's at the World Series right now. I guess that makes sense. Her husband is Justin Verlander, who's a pitcher for the Royals. Or the Royals. Jesus Christ. How much did I drink? Pitcher for Houston is what I meant to say. Damn. He never even played for the Royals. He played for Detroit. Anyway,
I yeah, sports is one of the things that I know very little about. So
usually I'm sharp as hell with sports. I don't know where Royals came from,
can't help you
but
there.
yep. Actually, that was Kate Upton. Um, Dad told me this. He saw this. This was someone's like. Obviously, it was their trolling prediction for who's gonna win the World Series, but it was kind of funny. Um, he was saying why Philadelphia is gonna win the World Series. He said, if you look at who's Philadelphia's hockey team.
The Flyers.
Okay, the Flyers. He said the Flyers. He said the longest recent stint, and he listed the dates. I'm not going to know it off the top of my head, but or the years. He said that the longest recent stint between their two titles was 13 years. Um, then he brought up the Philadelphia Phillies. He said, or the Philadelphia Eagles. They just won the Super Bowl in what was it, 2017 or something like that. And the last time they won it was 2004. He said the longest between theirs was 13 years as well. He said the Phillies, the baseball team, the last time they won it was 2009. Here we are in 2022. He said that is 13 years. He goes, he goes, 13, 13, and 13 is 39. He goes, Justin Verlander, a pitcher for the Houston Astros, who is the other team in the World Series, is 39 years old. Justin Verlander is married to Kate Upton. He goes, Kate Upton has very big boobs. He goes, boobs has 5 letters in it. Phillies in 5. He says that's why that was his way of deducing how and when the Phillies are gonna win the World Series, because every other Philadelphia team has had a 13-year drought between their titles,
You
and then
could have
13,
stopped at 13. Like that.
right?
He didn't need to keep going. He just wanted to keep going.
He just wanted to get to Kate Upton's boobs.
Damn it, Dad.
He's like, boob. No, that wasn't Dad. He
Oh,
was he was quoting something that he saw online.
oh, oh.
uh,
I'm sure.
but
Or was that just his excuse? Oh yeah, so I saw this online. Like,
I don't know.
uh,
No offense, Dad, if you're watching tonight, but is Dad really that smart to like play it off on something? Is Dad that person to be like asking for a friend?
that
Like I
yeah,
think
that
Dad
was his way of like feeling out the room. Like
he's just that blatant.
just asking for a friend. You think the Phillies are gonna win in 13? Just asking for a friend.
Uh,
uh,
um,
I'm let's see. What else comes out next week? What is it? Doesn't WoW come out next week, or is that 2 weeks?
no, the 26th.
Oh, 3 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on the horizon that I'm thinking about maybe
Yeah.
playing. Oh, what is? There's something the 18th that is important. Why is that ringing a bell? When does Pokemon come out? Because I want to
What
play that one.
Pokemon? Oh,
Scarlet,
yeah.
Scarlet and Violet. That I believe is also is soon. Um,
November
really soon.
18th,
Yeah,
Scarlet
that's the
Violet.
18th. Yep.
So that's a little over 2 weeks, and then
I
so
definitely want to play
you
that.
think you're gonna come back for Dragonflight?
I want to, but I don't want to because I don't want to come back to WoW, but I
The
want
the
to.
only way I would come back to Dragonflight and come back to retail is if I do not plan to do any type of mythic grinding,
Oh,
which will be
I'm
hard for me because that's always been like ever since that's come into the game. That's my favorite part of the game.
that's the
But
that's the reason I'm
that
gonna play it if I play it.
and you're gonna quit once you get to like 14s.
Yep.
um,
Yep.
and leave me to pug it. But that's like why I got back into Wrath Classic so much, just because when I remember playing Wrath, it just felt like so much more chill of a game. Like you didn't have the mythics, you had heroic level difficulty. You had your heroic dailies also, so that was fun. Like
I
every
don't
day
I
there
don't
was a new daily to
understand
do. Yeah.
that. I don't understand that thought process though. Like the game is way more casual now and it's way more chillable. Like you could just jump on and jump off whenever the hell you want. Whereas like
So it's casual in that regard, but like as far as what's available to accomplish in the game has potentially become more hardcore.
I mean no. There
Yeah,
That's just how
like
we
you didn't have
enjoy
like
playing it.
no. Let's dissect that thought a bit. Um, Dungeons now you have normal, heroic, and mythic difficulty. Not only do
Yeah.
you have mythic difficulty, but mythic difficulty scales to harder difficulty, so you can be as hardcore as you want with it. So the achievements that are necessary then with that, like KSM, you have to complete every dungeon on level 15 or higher on each week now with the way they incorporated their in-game
But you don't
IO and
need to
stuff like that.
complete that. Like you don't need to do that.
No. I know you don't need to, but what I'm getting at is by putting that in there, that's like setting the bait and hook for the type of gamer who likes that sort of thing. That's why it's hard for me to play retail because if I play retail, I know I'm gonna want to do that, and that does become a time investment,
You
you
just
know.
do it socially. Like
But
get on, play a key or two, get off.
But you can't do that
Yeah,
anymore
you
because
can.
you don't get no because in adding that element, it's added a toxic environment where people don't invite you to groups and things like that unless you're getting things done. So like unless I get on and I'm going with the curve of everybody
So what
else,
you
I
want to
can't
do
keep
is
up
you
with
want to
it.
push the key. Like you don't just want to get on and do a mythic to do a mythic.
So if I came back to Dragonflight, that would have to be my mentality with it, which is hard for me to do.
Yeah.
I know that about myself with the way I approach video games. And if I remember back to, and that's then the counter side of that, when you look back at what Wrath was, it was just normal and heroic difficulties. You could only run until Dungeon Finder came out. LFG did come out at the end of Wrath when the ICC dungeons released. Prior to that, though, you could only run a heroic once a day. That was it. So there's what like 12 dungeons in Wrath. You could only run 12 heroics a day if you were that hardcore. But it came to a point where you didn't need to do them anymore, and you would maybe only just do the daily just for the gold reward and stuff like that. It was so much more of a chill environment. I felt like even the raids and stuff like that, you had 10 man and 25 man, and then you had 10 man heroic, 25 man heroic. You didn't have any of those mythic difficulties. There were lesser achievements associated with things and stuff like that, and I don't know. It wasn't casual in the fact of like to accomplish anything. It took like the leveling was more of a time investment to get some of your enchants and everything because you had to get exalted with like Knights of the Ebon Blade and all those factions and stuff like that. Those were all grinds and stuff. So that stuff was more grindy. So that was a time investment. But that's what made it, that was also to me the casual aspect of it, and that I could do any of that solo on my own time whenever. If I only had 20 minutes, I could pop on and do stuff for 20 minutes. I didn't have to worry about trying to put a group together in 20 minutes or whatever, da da da, and trying to push something, which that's what retail to me is now. Since I'm a key pusher in retail, I have to have like
Mhm.
45 minutes to an hour to maybe push one key or something.
Yeah.
And then you get all the toxic uh, players and elitists playing and stuff like that, which that's been funny to watch back in Wrath Classic right now. Like, these guys are playing a game that's a version of a game that's 10, 11 years old, and they're still being the whole, oh, you need to have a 5K gear score to run this 25 Nax with us. And it's like, really? Like people are clearing axe in like 49 minutes with wearing all greens, and you're worried about somebody having a 5K gear score to run with you.
Yep.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, yeah, you got to make sure that that they're equipped to do that dungeon.
It just, I don't know. That's something that'll never make sense to me because I feel like gear score and like Raider IO and stuff like that. It's always something that it always made me feel like
It's your
a little bit,
resume. It's your
but it
resume.
but
Like that's all it is.
it gave me the same feel of like Prestige in Call of Duty. Like
Prestige doesn't mean
if
anything. Prestige just
if
meant
you
that you
if
put
you
time
if
in.
you if you play Call of Duty long enough, you will be whatever prestige. You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
gain XP per match regardless of how well you did.
Yes.
I almost feel like this is kind of the same thing. Because like if you play it long enough, like yeah, you might not be your IO might not be building up as quickly and stuff like that, but if you do enough dungeon, you don't have to time a key to for it to count towards your vault reward each week. So as long as you're doing keys, whether you time them or not, you're gonna get a vault reward. You're gonna get gear. So it's almost inevitable that if you just stay at it, you are eventually gonna climb that ladder. So just because you have a high IO doesn't necessarily mean I know what I'm doing. You also have the carries and everything like that. It still doesn't mean that you know what you're doing, you know? So I don't know.
That
It
yeah,
just bugs me
but
that people are
it's
so adamant about that. Like that
well,
doesn't
I
mean
mean,
anything.
it's just like when you go get a job. Like, I mean, if I have 40 years of professional experience, it doesn't mean that I'm any good at a job that someone's
Right.
going to give me. Like, I
Yeah.
still need to perform. I mean that
Correct.
so I don't see a problem with it because it I
Well, I do,
remember the
because that
days.
you. I mean, that just you just kind of defended my point in that, like, yeah, like I have like so in the most recent one I can attest to was season three Shadowlands. I had a 3100 IO. That means I cleared being 3K IO means I've cleared every dungeon on both difficulties on level 20, right? Somebody could have a 3K IO, but that doesn't mean they know what they're doing. They honestly could have been carried to that because if you look at what the Great Push was doing, they were doing 31s, 32s. There's a
Yeah.
chance that somebody with a 3K was carried by those people. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, it's like what you just said. I have 40 years of experience doesn't mean I know what I'm doing. I could just be
Yes.
mediocre the whole way.
That's
Um,
true, but I remember the days when there was nothing. When you just someone would be like, "Hey, I want to do this," and you're like, "Sure," and then they just don't know anything. They bought their account or whatever, and
mhm.
it was a crapshoot. I'd rather have at least a line in the sand somewhere than no idea.
So don't get me wrong. I'm not about the. I can see having a line in the sand and something that gives you a judgment. What I don't like is when people are dicks about it.
Yeah.
Where they them come at you like, oh no man, you're only a 2300 IO, get good. Come back to me when you're better. This or that, da 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 da. Like,
At that
uh,
point, they just automatically get put on my ignore list because they're just an
oh no,
asshole
that
that
one.
I never want
And
to play with anyway.
I can speak to a specific scenario is when it was the third week of season three. And season three, no, because season two required it. Um, but season two and season three of Shadowlands required you to run the dungeons on both difficulties, both fortified
Yeah.
and tyrannical. Um, so season three was only the second rotation of tyrannical, I believe. Um, and I was queuing up to tank a 16 mist and my best mist at that time was only a 13.
Good.
However, from season 2, I had successfully tanked a 17 mist. And not only that, I had just finished tanking my first 15 plague fall. Like again, only week 3, it's early in the season, right? The dude who was queuing up, he too only had one timed 15, right?
Yeah.
Um, the most time in the group that he had put together, there was one dude that had 7 timed 15s, and the other two guys each only had 2 timed 15s. So I was equivalent with this guy in that he only had one time 15, the leader, he only had one time 15, I had one time 15. I queued for it, and he's like, "No, man, you can't tank this. You only have one time 15." Da 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 da. I'm like, "Dude, like," and like he didn't say it that civilly. He was being like rude about it, and it was firing me up. ironically enough, there was another 16 mist queued right then and there
Yeah.
that needed just a tank. I queued for that one. They invited me. We timed the dungeon by 37 seconds, and I was whispering that other dude the entire time. Like, I'm usually not one to do that, but I was dying because, you know, when somebody has DBM, if they're in
Yeah.
a boss fight, it sends the info back to you. Their group didn't time it. And I was dying because I knew if he was responding, he was getting the updates back. We timed, but like stuff like that was just driving me nuts because he was being an unnecessary dick, and I'm usually not one. I just usually do, but like I don't know, he just
Well, I
irked me
mean,
so wrong that then I
yeah.
got on him about it, and I was like, bro, I was like, look, I just got this other one. We're gonna time this. Watch. Um, and like my confidence was through the roof because I was the tank and I can control the pools as the tank. And I'm like, you know, so
He pissed you off, and you're just like zip, flop.
yeah, it
Like,
was funny. Like if I had metal at the time, I would have been record F8 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 like
and then sending him the link, like, hey, bro, just thought you'd
the
be interested.
ultimate troll.
Oh shit, check out this epic loot.
And then he tried to be like buddy buddy afterwards, and I'm like, no, that ship has sailed.
That ship's
Uh,
gone. Like, you know the
uh,
Zeppelin out of Org? Yeah, that's that ship.
But
Peace.
dude, because like if I remember like the conversation, like he was like getting like rude on like a personal level. Because like I was like, dude, it's only week 3. I said I'm gonna be KSM by the end of this week. And he's like, cool story, bro. Imagine taking 3 weeks to get KSM. And I'm like looking at him, I'm like, you're not even KSM yet. I said, and 3 weeks is pretty good for me. I said, I said I'm a father with at the time we had like the Vivian was,
Yeah.
11 months. I was like, I got an 11-month-old at home and this, that. He goes, ew, that's disgusting. He goes, could you ever imagine being responsible to care for anybody other than yourself? And I'm like, what? And like, I'm like, what are you like in college? Like, yeah, man, I'm a college kid and I'm about to fail out because I don't care. All I do is play WoW all day. I'm like, well, that sounds awesome. But
Like,
like,
sounds like you're doing a great job taking care of yourself there, buddy.
yeah,
No, I
right.
can't imagine you taking care of
Uh,
anybody else because you're an epic failure at life.
but yeah, that was so that's like another thing. What makes me hard about wanting to come back to retail is I feel like retail has made it so easy to be more of a toxic environment. It's popped up a little bit in Wrath, but again, the reason the way I'm playing Wrath is not to be that involved with it. I'm just like the leveling. I like reliving stuff, which something that I don't recall from the first time playing through my paladin and leveling him and everything is that Hand of Reckoning. That's their taunt ability.
Mhm.
I didn't recall it having the ability to do damage.
Yeah.
If you taunt something that is not currently aggro to you, it will do damage.
Yeah.
And it just makes me giggle because I'm like, how do I taunt somebody and cause damage to you? Like,
You,
is it emotional damage? Like what what what
fucking
is it?
Uncle Roger.
But like because it's what makes me laugh even more is when it crits. Like I must have said something really offensive for
No,
for me.
are you well, are you taunting by like vocals, or are you like lobbing a baseball at the dude? And you're like, "Yo, bro."
I mean, Hand of Rec. Hold on, let me pull it back up, and I'll read you the abilities. But like, because it's only again, it's only when they're not actually because when I got the spell and I know what it is in the current game, so I didn't think twice about it. But they were like running stockades because I'm leveling as rat. Um, but playing stockades and deck mines, those early dungeon, it really doesn't matter what difficulty you are to tank the or what spec you are to tank the dungeon, as long as you got a sword and board, you know.
Yeah.
So I volunteered to tank a couple, and yeah, I'm using Hand of Reckoning, and I see like damage popping. I'm like, oh, I was like, this shit does damage. So then I started using it whenever I could, thinking it just did damage regardless. And then I actually settled in and read it, and yeah, so I got it up. It says taunts the target to attack you. If the target is tauntable and not currently targeting you, causes 900 to holy damage. So maybe I'm sprinkling holy water on them, and that's what's getting their attention. I don't know.
You got a squirt gun with holy water. Like,
um, but yeah. So it's actually because again, I'm playing Ret, and I use that in my Ret rotation now, and that's another thing that's making me chuckle as I'm replaying
oh, I'd
this.
fucking
Granted,
kick you in an instant. Be like,
no,
stop
no, no, no,
fucking
no, no.
taunting.
No, let me explain. Let me explain. So when I'm doing stuff solo, it's obviously my opener. I make sure that I don't body pull something, and yeah, I taunt it, and it does damage right off the bat. And then if it crits, it gives me an instant exorcism too,
Yeah,
um, and gives me an instant orgasm. No, um, um,
gives you an exorcism.
yeah. If it crits, I
It's the
then
ghost leaving your body.
thousands of them.
As what's the Kenobi quote? As if a million people cried out in tears and then were instantly silenced.
As if a million people cried out at once and were instantly silenced. Um, but yeah, so when I'm doing solo stuff, that's my opener. I make sure I don't body pull and I taunt and it does the damage. When I'm in dungeons, I don't taunt at all during the fight. I don't taunt until they're at like 30%. And then I'll taunt, and usually by that time, because there's also three other people smacking them, that 30% really isn't a lot. So I taunt, they then turn to me, and usually by the time I actually have threat, he's under 20%, and I can start Hammer of Wrathing too. And I take like maybe a hit at most. So that's what I've been doing. Like I was doing that like in Zolfer. And like I tell the tanks that though too, like just so you know, I am taunting when shit's at low health just for extra DPS. And he's like, I was gonna say, he's like, I thought I was having aggro issues. Like, nah, that's me. He goes, well, as long as you know what you're doing, I'm fine with it. But
I
like,
used to like get so pissed like as a
oh,
warrior
dude,
like
hunters
you
having
don't
their pet taunt on.
and yeah, as a warrior, you don't gain fury unless you're getting hit. So the fucking mobs keep getting pulled every 3 seconds because they have their
Mhm.
taunt turned on. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't taunt until the thing's at like 20 or 30% or less,
I'm
and
like,
then I
I'm just
can.
gonna let your
But
pet die. Like,
dude, it also became because like once I read that it, and like this is what I'm saying. Like when I replay this game, I don't know if I like this is how my thought process has developed over the years, or granted, I never played Ret back then.
yeah,
I leveled as Holy back then. So who knows if I would have connected these dots back then or not, or is this what 11 years later and everything else has allowed me to think differently and critical thinking, whatever. I thought about that when I saw, oh, if it's tauntable and it's not aggro to you, that's when it does damage. Because you know when you get shit that starts fleeing, you're like, oh, I need something to do it. And being a paladin, back then in Wrath, your like judgment was like just a 5 yard range. Like now it's a 40 yard range in retail. But back then it was close. Like everything was melee thing. But when something was running away, because you don't get Hammer of Wrath to level 44, so when stuff started running away from me, I was like, technically it's not aggro to me. Can I taunt it? And I would taunt it again, and that thing would just fall over as it's running away. So I'll use that as a fleeing mechanic too. If there's like if you're fighting something that flees, like and then
yeah.
again in Zolfarak, all the trolls do that. So I would have my hammer and taunt to be able to do that. As shit starts booking away, I'd be like taunt, and it would just fall over, or hammer, and it would fall over. And I'm like, this is fun.
Well,
I was like,
but when they flee, don't they like automatically regain health like very quickly?
no, no, no. When someone starts fleeing, its health stays the same.
Oh, until it like fully resets.
So fleeing wouldn't happen. Or I think the fleeing you're thinking of is when you break the tether, you run
Oh,
out of the aggro distance,
yeah,
and then it turns around. So fleeing, like some mobs have that mechanic where once they get to a certain amount of health, they turn and try to run to safety,
yeah,
or they try to run to other mobs. So they run into other packs, and that whole pack then comes to you.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So when someone would start booking away, I'd like taunt it, and it would just fall over then. And I'm just wondering, like, what is my paladin saying, man? Is he using the N word, or what's he doing?
It's like suck a crucifix.
uh,
Kiss my Eucharist.
the power of Christ compels you.
They're all like, "What?" They just walk over because they're, like, concerned about your mental well-being.
They're
Like,
like, "Are you okay?
they're
Like,
like
what are these obscenities you're saying?"
like, "This guy does not know how to start a fight."
uh,
Yeah, but no, I've yeah.
Through the light, all things are accomplished. Huh?
Yeah. I've been on the Call of Duty train for sure.
Yeah.
It's good. Um, I
I'm not gonna
haven't.
lie. I do miss me a good first person FPS.
Oh, we played some Overwatch too.
Mm-hmm.
For a little bit. That was fun. Um, but the healers are a lot of fun in that game. I like playing support. I only queue for support now. Um,
Were there any new healers are added, or is it still just your
yeah, there's
Mercy, Lucio, Bridget?
oh,
Is
there's
Bridget considered support?
Brigitte. Yes, she
Wait,
is.
that's how you say her name, Brigitte?
I I I fuck, I
Baguette.
don't
Um.
know. Yo, Baguette, get over here. Um, yeah, uh they have like a soldier 76 like knockoff healer. His name's Baptiste, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He was in the first one. Yeah.
So you got Baptiste, Bridget, Lucio, Mercy, Zenyatta, Ash,
Ash.
not Ash. What is her
No,
name?
it's Ash.
No, Ash is
Oh,
the.
no, no, no. You're right. You're right. Ash is Bob.
Yeah.
um, I know who you're talking about though.
Oh,
The
that's who
sniper.
Bob belongs to. I kept seeing
Yeah, Bob
Bob
belongs to
run
Ash.
around. I'm like, who the fuck is Bob, and why is he kicking my ass?
Dude,
Like,
Bob hurts.
but no,
I know who you're talking about.
yeah, Farah's
S-
mom.
Wait, that's
Whatever.
Farrah's mom.
Yeah, whatever her name is. I can't think
Why the
of what
hell
her
can't
name
I think of
is.
her name?
Um, then they have a new one. It's like I forget what the new one's name is. But her thing is
Is it Anna?
Anna. Yeah, I, that's not gonna get me anywhere. Um, I just googled support, like literally just support, like that, just one word. Um, Here, that's the character that I'm looking at, but what the hell is their name? Um, Heroes, support, see all heroes, uh, support. Here we go. Anna, Baptiste, Brigitte, Carico is the new one.
I was gonna say
Mercy,
yeah.
Lucio, Moira, and Zenyatta. Carico is actually really cool. I like that character. That
Oh, I
hero.
forgot that Moria is considered support because
Yeah.
she would piss me off in the first one.
So this one, she has it's called Healing Ofuda, which is like she's got like these healing talismans. They kind of look like tarot cards that she just like throws out and they home at your allies that do healing. And then she's got a kunai, like the ninja kunai, the throwing knife thing, that does every person that you hit with it takes increased critical damage for a time.
Mhm.
So you just like pop it on the healer and
That's
then
your offensive support.
yeah, so you pop it on the healer and then tell everyone to target the healer and they just like fall apart. She has a ability called Swift Step, which instantly teleports you to an targeted ally, and then she's got a projectile that makes allies briefly invulnerable and cleanses all debuffs on them. And then her
Swift step sounds like a lazy thing to add in to make off like Mercy's ability to
yeah,
zoom at somebody.
it's like Mercy's thing, but it's a teleport, not like a hover.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what I mean by it,
yeah,
though. That's why it sounds lazy. It sounds
yeah.
like Blizzard was just like, Mercy does this. Can we? make it seem different but be better.
Her her ultimate's sick. It's called the Kitsune Rush. It summons a spirit fox that rushes forward, and it accelerates team movement, attack speed, and cooldowns for all allies that follow behind it.
So is it like a cone behind you or something? Like you have to be within a certain radius or certain.
No, I don't know. So the fox runs ahead and it leaves like a path behind it, like a path of light that you follow that if you're standing like near it. But I was kicking ass as her. Because her healing is it's kind of it's kind of like Mercy's heal, but it has a time, like an expiration on it. So Mercy's you like just hold down trigger and you heal indefinitely. Where this you have like I think it's like 8 or so of the talismans, and you hold down click until all 8 are out, and then it like reloads. So there's a short delay between when you can use it, but it's a pretty bursty heal. Like you can heal a tank to full with like one burst through it. Um,
When you say burst, like one burst through all 8 talismans?
yeah, like you hold it down and it's like 2.5 second cast for
What's
all of it,
what's what's the recharge time on it? Is it like
like a second.
is it like per talisman?
No, for the full 8.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it's like the carrots in Zelda with Epona.
Uh, no, no, it's not. But when I started playing her, I didn't realize that the heal was a hold down. So I'm like clicking, like thinking I'm like
Oh
throwing these
dude,
talismans,
I
and then it's like I'm like, why can't I heal for shit? I'm like, this character sucks. And then I like accidentally held it down, and she's like, "Bup bup 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 bup," and I saw like the health bar go whoop, and I'm like, "Oh,
ah
that's how you do it." Like,
dude, that's how it was with me and McCree when I originally made McCree way back when. Like, but I could never break that you could just hold down the trigger and he'll just cycle through all 6 shots. Like it was almost like a conscious thing ingrained in me, and like my
yeah,
character is holding a non-automatic pistol.
yep,
So I am not allowed to hold down my trigger.
yep.
Like I was like I was not able to break that. Like I never got comfortable just holding trigger down with McCree for some reason. Don't know why. But
So I told you about. I'm gonna take my glasses off because that reflection's annoying. I told you about the PGP, the go karting here, right? So that it took me like all day to get comfortable with the when you hit the brake there. It I was looking at how the mechanism works, and the gas works just like a lawnmower, to where you hold down the thing and it pulls the throttle back, right? Um, like the cord, you know what I'm talking about? So the go karts, it did that, but when you hit the brake, it pushed the cord back in, so it disengaged the gas, even if you were flooring the gas. So you never had to take your foot off the gas. You just keep your foot on the gas and then you hit the brake when you want to brake. And I'm like, what? It just ingrained in my head like if I hit the brake, let off the gas. But the go karts, if you did that, it actually slowed you down. So I was like, oh, wait, just give me a roll of duct tape. I'll just duct tape the gas pedal down. Like,
yeah, and then only use the gas
yep,
or only use the brake rather.
yep. All gas, no brake.
Yo.
Yeah, it's let's see, Overwatch. Um I was playing Outer Worlds a little bit. It's like the Fallout type game by Obsidian. That game's hilarious. The writing in it is just so funny. It
What's the what game? Oh, you know what? You know, this is gonna have to be a topic for a whole nother podcast. Um Outer Worlds. Uh, Give me a quick. brief down what that is.
So it's like Fallout. Um, it's an RPG, but it's the art style is vastly different than Fallout, where Fallout's like very realistic, post-apocalyptic, and dreary. Outer Worlds is very Borderlands-esque. It's very bright, colorful, and all the writing and everything is very humorous. There there's this one in the beginning area, you come across this guy who's just digging a grave, and you go talk to him and he's like, "Spacer's choice, it's the only thing out here." And it's like you start talking to him and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm working for Spacer's Choice. They're the only employer out here. Like I need to make money and everything." And you're like, "What are you digging?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm digging my grave." He's like, "Wait, what? Why are you digging your grave?" And he's like, "Oh, because like I need to I'm leasing my grave or something from Spacer's Choice, so I'm trying to get like the work done ahead of time before like in case like something happens or whatnot." And then like one of the dialogue choices is he's saying that he wants to do the work to make the money to pay for his grave so he doesn't get his grave repoed. And like they're gonna come like repo his body out of the grave, and he's like, "I want to rest in peace," and it's like just so it's like, wait, what? Like,
That sounds like something like a government like conspiracy theorist would say.
yeah.
Like
Well, that's funny you brought that up because like right after that, you go do this little like quest line in this town, and you come across this vicar. It's like a priest esque guy, and he wants you to go find this book it's like banned subject material. It's a banned book, and you're like, what? Like, you shouldn't. Why do you want this book? It's banned. He's like, oh no, I'm above the law. I want it for research to make sure it doesn't fall in the hands of the would be naysayers and make sure that like that knowledge doesn't get out there. And then you go get the book and you bring it back, and he's like flipping through it. He's like, what the hell? This book's in French. It's like it's like just shit like that, just so off the wall random, and you're like, what is going on? Like,
it is always good when there is humor in video games too.
yeah, it's good. Like that game is excellent. It's just it's a fun game, and then like RPGs like Skyrim and Fallout and everything. It's always about like building your character up and like becoming stronger. One of the things about Outer Worlds that I
But
find
this character, you build him horizontal.
well, well, kind of. So I find
It's like
this
lateral movement at the office.
I find this game mechanic incredibly interesting and fresh. Um, so just from playing WoW and everything my entire life, whenever you run anywhere, you jump. You just
Your entire life. It
you
actually
just
does feel
jump.
like that, doesn't it?
It does. it, I've hold on. When did WoW come out? 2004.
This is gonna be the 18th anniversary in November.
Yeah, I've been playing WoW for over half my life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
um. Anyways, so you just jump while you're running places, and the height that you fall before you start taking fall damage and like having horrible bone breaking noises in your ear is like comically small. So I was like constantly like breaking my leg and having to heal and everything.
Because
But
you're
then
so used to
yeah,
jumping everywhere and wow.
but then after like 20 hours of playing the game, I get the I fall off a cliff and I break my legs, and this pop-up comes up that says phobia acquired. And it gave me negative. I had negative perception, negative accuracy, and negative gun damage from heights. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Dude, that is major kudos to like the dev team though to like
uh,
think of like to like include that like that's the stuff that baffles me when I see stuff like that pop up in a game like that's when I sit back and I'm like I want to be in that meeting when they came up with this and just listen to what the conversation was.
Oh yeah.
Like I want like I'm almost like 90% sure something was being passed around the table at the same time and everyone was hitting it. Or
I saw that and I'm like, this is great. Like this is really cool. And
that really is like genius.
there there there's these other enemies that are pretty strong and they're fast. So you have to like sprint around and then get like a couple pot shots in when you can. But they kept hitting me, they kept killing me over and over, and then I got a phobia of them too. So like I'm at a disadvantage when I'm fighting these guys
Yeah, when you're
now.
fighting them, they do
Yeah,
like increased damage to you or
but
something like that,
it's funny. I'm like, wow, this is really
or your
interesting.
haste is reduced or something.
Yeah,
That's genius.
it really is. Like I really like that mechanic, and I've never seen it
So
anywhere.
not only can you create your own character, you could also give them any type of like, um, what's the word I'm looking for?
Now I just kind of want to go in.
Dysmorphia
Yeah,
of any.
I just want to go in and like just
You
eat
make a
like
broken character.
40 loaves of bread and see what happens. It's just
What's okay? Hold up. Is there a phobia of yeast? I'm gonna look that up.
a yeast phobia? I'm sure there probably is. Like that's probably a thing. Um,
Uh, is there a bread phobia?
there that I mean, yeah,
Yes.
there is.
Sagophobia? Oh, the fear of soggy bread is sagophobia.
Ew. Yeah, I don't like soggy bread.
I like soggy bread.
No, you don't.
No, time out. I gotta explain. It can't just be like water soggy. Like when I say soggy bread, like dipping it in soup, dipping it in spaghetti sauce, something like that. Like I love that. Like Panera bread, give me a bread bowl with broccoli cheddar soup, let that soak in. While that's soaking in, I'm dipping my baguette in that, and I'm dipping Bridget in that, and Bridget is getting soggy. Oh, that sounds bad. Uh,
Wow. So I just googled.
Overwatch, not WoW. Come on. Uh,
I just looked up the phobia list for Outer Worlds, and there's a permanently crippled disadvantage that you get it by continually taking damage to your legs too many times, which will result in a being unable to dodge. So it just disables the dodge function and
I'm,
gives
I'm,
you a 30% debuff to movement speed.
yeah, I'm looking at this too. I like permanent concussion.
What? How's that one work?
Mind attributes -1. Having been hit in the head one too many times, your mental faculties have been permanently affected. Suffer too
Wow.
many headshots to acquire this flaw, although we're not quite sure why you'd want it.
Yeah, I got acrophobia after
Yeah, I was.
repeatedly falling from great heights. You no longer function well when the ground is far beneath you. That's what it said on the screen. I was like, "What?" I was so confused. But yeah, it's good. Drug addiction. Okay, there you can become addicted to drugs. That's great. Yeah, that game's a lot of fun. I need to finish that one. There's a bunch of stuff. I want to play through the campaign of Call of Duty. But oh yeah, I looked up the system specs for Call of Duty and you should be able to play it just fine.
Yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't be able to.
You might just have to lower all your graphics down, but it'll be playable.
Hmm. Side note: Phillies just won Game 3,
Woot!
7-0.
Well,
So they
that's
are
good.
up. They're up 2-1 in the series.
Well,
So we just passed the second O in Kate Upton's boobs. 5-letter word. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, we gave our listeners some extra content here today, going a little over. I'll set us up for next week a little bit though for one of the topics because you talking about Outer Worlds, it made me think of an episode of X Play I was watching and I couldn't remember what game they were talking about in X Play, but the topic of that episode was if RPGs have gotten out of hand as far as like the amount of time it takes to 100% RPGs nowadays. The size of the maps,
Yeah.
the over exaggerated open world concepts to things now, and this and that, da da da. Because when you said Outer Worlds, I for some reason I thought it was the game they were talking about. They were talking about No Man's Sky. Have you
Oh,
heard of that game?
yes. Yeah.
Did you hear what they're doing with No Man's Sky?
What What do you mean what they're doing with it?
So, well, I don't know if this like what they're
Because that's
adding
probably
in
an
or
old. If it's what I think you're talking about, that might be an old episode of X Play.
maybe, but about having 18 quintillion planets that are able to be visited in
Yeah.
the video game.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's completely procedurally generated. So like they literally made the entire universe. Um, they funny thing is, okay, so it says to obtain 100% completion, you're gonna spend about 150 hours in that game.
Yeah, that's what I just saw too. So you obviously don't have to visit all of these. This is
No,
just for
no, no, no,
pure
no.
exploration's sake.
Yes.
Somebody did the math though of how long it would take to visit all 18 quintillion,
Okay.
and I didn't check them for I didn't grade it to see if they're right. I didn't check their math on this. I'm just taking their word for it. I didn't make sure that they did it longhand. Um, they estimate or came up with nearly 585 billion years
Sounds about right.
of gameplay.
But yeah, when they originally like launched that game and were talking about it, that was one of their selling points. And then they said that there was multiplayer. But they said you're not going to be able to group up. You're not going to be able to have a party system. There there is everyone's in the shared world, but because it's so damn big, pretty much multiplayer doesn't exist because you're not going to be able to make it to see where anyone like the time it's going to take you to get to where someone else is, and then everyone's like that sounds like shit.
Right?
So they went back and they changed that. You can apparently that game's actually good now.
I think
Yeah.
they need to just put Thanos in that game and have him snap his fingers.
And delete half the planets, make it playable.
You're still at 9 quintillion planets
Yep.
in that case though.
But
Did we
yeah,
really do anything?
let's dig into
Yeah,
this because I have some thoughts on that next week.
yeah. For RPGs and the size of them now.
But
Cool.
thank you everyone for the people that are here or will be viewing this at a later date for sticking through the Walmart special episode. Um complete with the shitty digital cameras and the accompanying echo. Um the only thing we're missing is the God damn it. I'm just thinking that this is like a Craigslist post in the making. Like but I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for joining. We'll be back next week for episode 23.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
thanks again. Have a good night. We love you. Bye.
Take care, guys. Fun being back.